I, Malick Jatta,
I, Malick Jatta,
do swear that
do swear that
I'll speak the truth,
I will speak the truth,
the whole truth,
and
nothing but the truth.
nothing but the truth.
So help me God.
So help me Allah.
Good afternoon, Mr. Witness.
Good afternoon, sir.
Welcome to the TRRC. Before you commence your testimony, I take this opportunity to inform you that it is an offense to lie before the TRRC. It is also an offense to refuse to answer questions before the Commission. Prior to your appearance, we have explained the law of the TRRC to you, including your right to remain silent and your right not to incriminate yourself. Can you confirm for the record that you have been informed about these rights?
Thank you very much, sir. You're correct.
Can you confirm for the record that you have been informed about these rights?
I repeat, thank you very much, sir. You are correct.
Good. So today we would want to talk to you about your biographical information, your enlistment into the Gambia Armed Forces, the training you received in the Gambia Armed Forces, as well as the activities you were involved in as a soldier in the Gambia Armed Forces. And some of the problems you've had in the Army until today. At least we would want to know what you went through in your efforts to change your status in the Army. Are you ready to talk about those things?
I do.
Thank you very much. Could you tell us your full names, please?
I am Malick Jatta.
What is your date of birth?
I was born on the 15th of December 1975.
Where were you born?
I was born in Tujarem village.
Give us a brief summary of your educational background.
I attended Tujarem Primary School from 1983 to 1989, after which I proceeded to Haman Minor Technical High School, 1990 to 1995. Graduated from there, then enlisted into the Army on the 1st of May, 1996.
Could you tell us briefly the trainings you went through as a member of the Gambia Armed Forces?
After completing my recruitment in 1996, I was posted to 1 infantry battalion, that is Yundum Barracks. Then in the year 2000, I was sent to the training school for a junior NCO cadre course. After which, when I graduated from there, returned back to 1BN. A month after that, I was requested, to my understanding, by the Turkish command, then in charge of the GAF-TS training school.
What is GAF-TS training
Gambia
school?
Armed Forces Training School.
Proceed, please.
That I was needed to be brought up as an instructor, which happened, and I responded, had about 8 months training to be an instructor with them. Completed that, then a year after that, there came this package of Libya-Gambia Commando training that was prepared by the State Guard in the year 2001. Wrong, 2002. I went into that, completed it successfully.
And what type of training was that?
That was a commando training.
Proceed, please.
After completing that, was the time I went back with my trophy because I scored third position in that examination, in that course too. Went back to the training school to meet the commander of the school, who was then Staff Major Hakan Ozab.
From which country?
A Turkish.
Proceed.
Upon meeting him, I was surprised to be informed that despite his promise that if I happened to be within the first 10 out of the final examination in the commando course, he would have a very rich prize for me. He just informed me that, he wouldn't honor that promise despite my performance, duly for the fact that, my file was already transferred.
To where?
To the State Guard.
Do you know what that meant?
That means myself, I am redeployed from the training school to the State Guard.
And proceed, what happened after that?
Then from there, I began to report to the State Guard, where subsequently I was advised by the command, then under the leadership of Major Khalifa Bajinka.
To do what?
To be joining the Libyan instructors, then observing their duties at the police training school, where the course used to be hosted.
And what did you do with that Libyan group?
When I went to the Libyans, also I had another session of training with them to become a commando instructor. I was prepared.
Did you complete that course?
I did.
And after completion of that course, what did you do?
Unfortunately, there was no certification of these courses in preparation to be an instructor. But after completing that, we had to train another batch, which was the third batch of the commandos. Because the first batch of the commandos, were trained in Libya. Primarily, myself and Borakoli then at Yundum were nominated for that course. But whatever turned our going to this place, to Libya for the course, at the time, I don't know. I was only surprised to be informed that instead of the Libyan course, I was supposed to go for a cadre course, which I obeyed, and that was the cadre course I mentioned about in 2000. Now at the school, when we trained the third batch, finishing with that was the time when our relations, the national relations between the Gambia and Libya fell out.
And what happened as a result of that?
As a result of that, the Libyan instructors were supposed to leave.
Did the training that was initiated by the Libyans continue?
It was supposed to continue because a fourth batch was designed. Immediately after the departure of the Libyans, all the Libya-Gambia commandos that were attached to them as instructors were warned to report back to base. That was the State Guard.
So all the commandos trained were sent or deployed to the State Guards?
Yes, sir.
And what do you, kindly explain what that means? Who is this State Guard? Which entity is this State Guard?
The State Guard is a battalion that was responsible for the protection of the president and his family. Alongside our duties also, we have certain guard posts that we use to mount, ranging from Kombo up to Kanilai.
Which included what? Those guard posts from Kombo to Kanilai?
Yes.
What kind of posts would those be?
These are areas that may be of, I can say, key installations, some key installations of the government, and key positions also, security-wise, like Denton Bridge. And you have some, how am I going to call it? Some of the project sites of the former president.
Like what? Give us an example.
Like say, he had a store in Banjul where he used to keep this rice and the like, but this was not, continuous. Each time he has a consignment, we will make a deployment for the security of that area. And the cattle also, we will make deployment from the State Guard, for those who will be rearing them. Sometimes the job was very tedious, though out of military, how to call it again? What is the right word? I would say out of military expectation.
I don't understand. Could you take that again and explain it, break it down clearly for us to understand?
Well, in the performance of a soldier, militarily, it is not meant for securing an individual project like that's cattle rearing and sometimes taking care of his gardens.
In a sense, you're telling us that he was using you, the State Guard, for his own private interest, like guarding his cattle and his garden.
In most cases.
So you're suggesting, yes, that is the case?
Yes, sir.
So we would come back to this. Kindly, briefly tell us the deployments you have had in the Army until the point you joined the patrol team. Could you tell us, please?
Okay, from this point, when our instructors were gone back to Libya, as I said before, all the commandos who were Gambian by nationality, that is the instructors, were warned to be reporting back to base. That was Banjul at the State House. We spent some time there. Then, the command decided that all the Libya Gambian experienced commandos were to be deployed to Kanilai as the former president's home-based security guard.
But before then, in the early days of your career as a soldier, you have had some deployments, including peacekeeping. Is that correct?
Yes, I did.
Could you tell us a bit about that?
The peacekeeping I have been deployed to was in Guinea-Bissau in 1999, during the crisis between Ninu Vera and the late General Ansumana Mane.
So you enlisted in the Army in 1996?
Yes, sir.
So between 1996 and 1999, what did you do?
I was performing my duties as a rifleman, an infantryman, and doing sentry duties.
And where were you posted during that time?
I think I've mentioned that I was posted at Yundum, sir.
Good. So in 1999, you went for peacekeeping.
Yes,
and
sir.
When did you return?
We returned, I think the same year. I think later the same year. I can't remember the date exactly.
So when did you go for your junior cadre course?
This was in the year 2000.
So it was after this junior cadre course that you went for the commando training?
It was after the junior cadre course, I was deployed to the training school. Then from the training school, I was again redeployed to the commando course, representing the school.
Wonderful. So now we know what you did from your enlistment in 1996, all the way to after when you finished your cadre course and did the commando training, and also trained other commandos. You did your training as commando instructor, and then you trained another batch of commandos, and after that, all of you were deployed to State House. Does that sum it up?
Yes, sir.
After State House, you just mentioned a little while ago that all the Libyan trained commandos were now deployed to Kanilai to guard the president's home, correct?
Yes, sir.
At this stage, was there any particular name that was given to this group that was deployed to Kanilai?
No, it was the Psychas.
Called what?
Psychas. Psycha in the Libyan language, according to the instructors explaining to me, means a commando.
But in terms of the deployment, the group, the commando is your training and your specialization in the Army, correct?
Yes, sir.
And the formation that you had at the time, the group that you were together with, what was it called?
At that time in Kanilai, for the first deployment when I went to Kanilai, was a 9-month deployment in which I was observing my duties as an instructor purely.
After that, what did you do?
In that, we were supposed to train a batch, but their training did not continue.
And after the 9-month stay in Kanilai, What did you do?
We were all withdrawn back to base. And again, I went back into the physical guard to observe my duties as a sentryman.
And back to base, where would base be?
That is Banjul, the State Guard.
And for how long did you serve at State House during this period?
I cannot remember the period we have stayed in the State Guard during this period before my deployment to the patrol team in Kanila. It was immediately after this, I was observing my duties as a guard in the State Guard on physical sentries when I was deployed to Kanilai after realizing that we were published on the Part 1 orders, notice board rather.
Can you tell us how this deployment happened?
Yes, sir. This deployment happened in this way that I was even on essential duties. That means I was on sentries. If my memory can serve me well, I was deployed to the tower around the beach side, where I was withdrawn before the 2 hours I was assigned for was to elapse one fine morning.
Who withdrew you from that duty?
It was the guard commander, but I will not be in position to remember who was this particular guard commander, sir.
Under whose orders?
This, I believe, was under the command of Major Bajinka, who was the CO.
What do you mean by CO?
The commanding officer, State Guard.
And did you get to meet him after you were withdrawn?
Yes, I did get to meet him.
What did he say to you, if anything?
He found us at the rifle cleaning bay, which was then located behind the main gate guard room, where we were assigned to go and clean up our rifles, but we were not informed as to why. And this was myself and Aliu Jeng.
And what happened after that?
During that cleaning, Jeng mistakenly discharged 3 shots on Andy. He was trembling. I got the rifle from him and advised him to leave, that if the command comes, I will protect him and I will explain. But before his departure, Major Bajinka, who was the commanding officer of the battalion, appeared with some officers I cannot remember. So instead of addressing those about those discharge shots, that was the Andy negligence discharge, instead he told us that, well, with effect from this minute, you people have been deployed to Kanilai to join the patrol team, and your commander would be Tumbul Tamba.
This Major Bajinka, what's his first name, if you know?
Khalifa.
Khalifa Bajinka.
Yes, sir, if my memory can serve me.
All right. So you were deployed to the patrol team in Kanilai under the command of who?
Command of late Tumbul Tamba.
Tumbul Tamba. What, at this stage, did you understand what was the role and function of the patrol team?
I had no idea about the role and the function of the patrol team until when I reached Kanilai.
And how did you come to know about the role of the patrol team?
Well, the role defined to us on arrival in to Kanilai, that was on receipt by the commander, was that our duties now was to observe, the borderline and protect our Gambian people and the Gambian territory from the affection of the rebellion taking place in Casamas.
And what else?
Yeah, that was what he gave us, what I can remember from his primary briefings when he received us.
And did he tell you anything about secrecy?
Secrecy, this was after the primary meeting, because the first day when we reached, he welcomed us, was the time he defined our new responsibility and our new roles. That was observation of the border, in protection of our people from the affection of the rebellion. So from time to time, he would call us into his room that was located at the story building. There are, if I can remember, maybe 2 to 3 story buildings, If you enter Kanila, the president's compound on the right, he was occupying one of these buildings. And then in his talkings, he would mention that, you have to always remember the oath of secrecy, and you have to always remember the oath of allegiance.
And what did you understand him to mean?
We were not subjected to any oath of secrecy or allegiance, as I have been hearing it during my detention on the media in Kanilai. The secrecy and the oath of allegiance he was talking about, I will presume, it is the oath of secrecy and allegiance that each soldier is subjected to on your enlistment.
In essence, you're telling us that there was no special oath of secrecy or allegiance that the members of the patrol team were made to go through.
When I was deployed, I have not gone through that. It could be, they may be subjected to it because I went into it and I left at a point in time when my observations, my own instinct warned me that something is wrong.
But nonetheless, you were reminded of your obligations for secrecy, to maintain secrecy, and also to ensure allegiance to the state.
Frequently.
Frequently. And what did you understand him to mean about your obligations to ensure secrecy?
In this, there is a rule in the army that what happens in the field stays in the field. But it doesn't mean everything that happens in the field stays in the field. There are certain activities that the commander will be responsible to allow you to discuss. So I only knew what he meant by this secrecy when he put us into the first operation, after which he went further to tell us that you must not discuss this even amongst yourselves.
We would come to all that later. But for now, let's focus on the formations. Your team, you said, was the patrol team, correct?
Yes, sir.
Can you tell us the composition of that team, please?
The composition of the team at the time of my deployment to Kanilai was late Tumbul Tamba.
What was his role?
He was the commander.
And who else?
Sanamanjang.
What was his role?
He was the second in command, but we found him in Kanilai, and I think they were there with the patrol team before. But these are the two people we met in Kanilai, myself and Alujang.
And who was the third member of your team?
It was myself.
Malick Jatta, right?
Yes, sir.
And the fourth member?
Alujang.
Was there any other member?
Not yet.
Do you know a person called Solo Bojang?
Solo Bojang was there, but he was observing his duties as a farm attendant. But in the near future, after our deployment to Kanilai, he was also involved in some of the operations, which I believe we will get to in the future.
So can we say he was the fifth member of your team?
I will say, if you put him as the fifth member, it will not be wrong anyway.
Good. So if it is not wrong, then it would be correct, right?
Thank you.
Good. So the membership of that group, as you listed them, is Tumbul Tamba Commander, Sana Manjang Deputy Commander, Malick Jatta, Aliu Jeng, and Solo Bojang.
If Solo is to be part of it, Solo would be the second in command.
Okay, Solo would be the second in command. So when he operates with the group, he serves as second in command?
Yes, sir.
That's right. But was this the only patrol team that was in Kanilai?
At this point, I did not know that there were subsequent patrol teams. But along the course, I came to realize that there were other patrol teams. And when we get to those points, I will let you know how I get to know.
But before the patrol team, there was another group that was deployed to Kanilai, correct?
Pardon?
Before the creation of your patrol team, was there any other group that was already existing in Kanilai which was performing similar functions?
I would say during my 9 months stay in Kanilai, there was a group that used to go on patrol, but actually I did not know their functions.
Did you subsequently get to know about a group that was also operating in Kanilai which had functions that were similar to your patrol team?
As I do not know their functions, I will not be able to estimate whether their functions were similar to my patrol team function at the time.
Fair enough. Do you know a group called the Jungulars?
Yes, I know a group called the Jungulars.
Tell us about how that group came into being.
This is a formation that was trained by the then Italian by the name of Francis Cacasso.
And
they used to base in Kanilai and were conducting most of the time their duties around that area.
the Jungulars, were they known by any other name?
I do not know them by any other name other than the Jungulars.
Do you know the phrase or the name Black Black?
Black, this was the name primarily given to our patrol team.
Own patrol team?
Yes, this was a name that was introduced during that 2006 foil coup plot.
So in essence, we have three names here. We have Jungulars, we have Black, we have patrol team, right? So you're saying Black and patrol team are synonymous. They're one and the same.
Let me help you.
Please do.
It was not only three, if you are to call the Jungulars. From the Black, it was improved to be the Black Scorpions. From the Black Scorpions, it was after my departure, I hear the patrol team being called the Jungulars.
So in essence, it's the first group was Jungulars, then you have patrol team, which became a second group, and that patrol team now later became Black, then it became Black Scorpions, and then ultimately to Jungulars, bring it into parity or adopting the name as the first group. Is that correct?
Actually, there is a difference to my understanding between the Jungulars and the patrol team. Now, to clarify this, I would say the patrol team was a deployment, and it comprises of different standards of training. Like it may include the counter-terrorist unit, it may include the commandos, it may include Jungular experience in training.
But all those...
The Jungulars, as I said, is a formation that was trained by Francis Kakaso. I don't know what was their model of operandi because they have never been trained as a Jungular.
That is true. But after you left the patrol team or the Black Scorpions, that patrol team also became known as Jungulars, correct?
Yes, I had it as you also have had it.
That's right. So what do you say to the suggestion that those of us civilians, members of the public, we call the entire raft of formations, that is Jungulars, Black Scorpions, what have you, we call them all collectively as Jungulars?
It depends on what you mean by the word. I don't know what you mean by the word. If you can define the word, I will then know how to respond to that.
Okay, let's break it down bit by bit. The Jungulars, what function did they use to carry out during those days when you were in the patrol team?
As I said, we were observing the border patrol, but at certain points there were patrols that were abnormal, and the information of which I have given to the investigators.
I agree. And those operations that were abnormal were being carried out by who?
They were being carried out by the patrol team, which later became, the Jungulars.
And would the Jungulars also, those who had training as Jungulars, would they also be carrying out these abnormal missions that you talk about?
As I have said, I was not present during their time in their engagement in the bush. I was not part of them, and I was never trained as a Jungular. So if I am to express on their activities and their functions, I may lie, and I don't want to, because, sir, I don't want to take the Quran for a mockery.
Okay, I will tell you what we know as members of the public, the perception we have, and it is based on concrete information, is that the Jungulars were used to carry out extrajudicial killings, to carry out executions. Would that function be similar to the abnormal functions that the patrol team was also carrying out?
Yes, correct.
So in essence, the Jungulars, if we are to accept that as correct, in a sense, the Jungulars and the patrol team are just basically one and the same. It's just differences in composition of teams.
For the purpose of information and the purpose of clarification, I am only there to tell you that the Jungulars were trained by this Francis Kakaso, and the patrol team was meant for this. Maybe, somewhere along the line, the command tend to manipulate activities and the situations to incriminate the soldiers in their function.
Let's cut through the chase, Malick. The Jungulars were killers, and the patrol team were also killers, correct?
Correct, in some aspect.
Good, let us move on then. now that we have established that fact, these abnormal missions you are talking about, how would you characterize those missions? Tell us a bit about the nature of those missions.
Can you please reframe your question so that I will understand it better?
Thank you very much. And please always do so. Whenever you don't understand the question, ask me to clarify or to repeat it. All right? Understood? Yes. You did indicate earlier that the patrol team was involved in abnormal missions. Can you define what this means? What you mean by abnormal missions?
With this, first I will seize this opportunity to inform the general gathering, and I know I'm speaking to the wall, that my consent of coming into the army was not meant for what I was put into. I had a clean consent to serve my people, but on the right course.
Proceed.
In observing my duties, until the time I reached the patrol team, there were so many manipulations that the command were, subjecting the subordinates to. They would never tell us the truth, put us into activities after at the end of which you as a subordinate will come to realize that this that had been told to me was a lie, by proof.
Let's break it down a little bit. You use certain concepts that we need to know. You said the command would put you into certain activities which you would later find out were not proper. Who are you referring to as the command? And start from the top to the lowest level.
In the army, there's a chain of command. You get it from the commander-in-chief who will be the president. At this point, let me seize this opportunity to inform you on the fundamental values of a soldier. That is, they are four. One, you have to owe loyalty to the ideals of the nation.
Could you take that again, please?
You have to owe loyalty to the ideals of the nation.
Yes.
Two, owe loyalty to the ideals of the army, the ideals of the commander-in-chief.
Who would be the president?
That would be the president.
And the fourth one?
And the fourth one, ideals of the unit that you are serving.
Good.
But in all of this, somebody is vested the power to take directives and make decisions. So that hierarchy, the chain of command, is, you as a subordinate, anybody above you, you will call him your command. Because if the order comes from the top, it has to pass through him to, to get him. He will have to order you into what, is supposed to be your role. And we believe in the army as the army is supposed to be the demand of the public. The order is supposed to be the demand of the public.
With regards to the patrol team, where were the orders coming from?
At this point, it is going to be very easy for me. It's going to be very early for me to answer that question that it comes from the president. But at certain point, alongside my operation in which I was used, I could attest that he was responsible of giving the orders, because I was at a point in time hearing him speak to my commander on phone in a particular operation. And when we get to that, I will let you know. This is where I confirm that he was the one behind the orders.
Good. So in the meantime, let's just sketch, let's just map out briefly the structure of the patrol team, the command structure of the patrol team, starting from your immediate commander, that was Tumbul Tamba, up in the hierarchy.
I will start it from up to the bottom.
Please, go ahead.
Tumbul was reporting directly to the president.
Directly to the president?
Directly to the president, as to what we came to understand later. On the initial state, we will not be able to read where his connections were taken from.
In essence, you are telling us that all the activities that you were ordered to be involved in were coming from the president.
I may be wrong in saying that all the activities being involving me were coming from the president. I may be wrong, but looking at the the chain of command, Tumbul would not be mad to go into operations of such magnitude without the commander-in-chief's consent, and he was directly in touch with him. So if you look at the chain of command, if the commander-in-chief is there to talk to a captain directly, and the captain is there to give us orders, then the commander-in-chief is totally in the picture of what was going on.
Wonderful. So when you first arrived in Kanilai, you were given a prep talk about what your role was.
Excuse me, what do you mean by prep talk?
You were given some little bit of information,
Yes.
Preparing you to understand what you were supposed to do, what you were required, correct?
Yes, sir.
Were you given familiarization tour of the general environment?
This is what began, but before we were to be familiarized completely, the true color of the command showed up.
Can you explain what you mean?
They came up with this information that a rebellion was cooking to be hatched in this country.
That a rebellion was going to be hatched in the country?
Was cooking to be hatched in the country.
Okay.
Yes,
Tell us
this
more.
information was given by Tumbul Tamba. And that the order from the higher echelon was that the rebellion must not hatch. It must be taken head-on and crushed.
By who?
By the army, because I will also see it as maybe a function for the whole army. Because you only know about your unit responsibility.
But before all that, were you made to know the general terrain of the environment you were to operate in Kanilai and environs?
Nay.
Were you taken through the routes to be showed where things were, how to get to Casamas, how to go in and out? Were you showed all those?
It was only one or two routes that we were introduced to. That is the down road from Kanilai, coming to Kunjeje, then appearing in Sibanor.
Okay.
And you take the highway back. Then from Kanilai, going through Kankurang to appear in Kalaji.
Going through where?
Kankurang.
Kankurang?
Yes.
To come out through Kalaji, yes.
Yes,
Okay.
because the villages were so small, you wouldn't be able to get all their names as newly deployed there under the sequence of how they were after one another. It was during this introductory patrols that this other information came that a rebellion was cooking to be hatched in the country. So in a nutshell, after all the wrong taking place, I, in my own estimation, I will determine that this was a tactics they used to make us believe that these people are rebels and that they must be taken head on. Looking into my experience in the army, I think we were only 14 days deployed to the battalions when Farafenni attack took place, in which I lost 3 bad mates. May they also rest in peace. Then subsequent to that, there was another attack in Katong, and I lost a company mate. With those thoughts in the mind of a soldier, the command used these tactics to push the direction of the soldiers' activity towards, settling this incident.
So in effect, you're saying that the army had gone through certain difficulties in which people who are close to you lost their lives. And on a particular occasion, you are again made to believe that there was another insurgency that was going to happen in the country.
And this incident, this activity was alleged on the same people who were suspected to have, launched the attack on Farafenni.
And who were these people?
This, according to the command, was, ex-fighters of the then rebellion in Liberia led by Charles Taylor. But they are said to be Gambian dissidents. And according to the commander then, he said the former president gave them amnesty to come home safely, but they were not trying to be grateful.
As a result of all that, were you asked to do anything?
Yes. Along the line, something happened.
Can you
Not
tell
one
us
thing
what
happened.
you were told about that?
According to the briefing, it was not to be allowed to hatch.
Who gave the briefing?
This was Tumbul Tamba.
And to whom did he give this briefing?
He gave this briefing to all of us, all the three of us.
Name the names.
Myself, Sanamanjang, and Alujang.
And did he tell you to do something?
Whatever we would do would be under his command, and he would be present.
And?
He would be present.
And then, as a result of that, what happened next?
As a result of that, people were, killed.
So tell us, when he came to you and told you that there were dissidents who were ungrateful to Jammeh because he's given them amnesty or whatever, and brought them back into the country, they now want to cause an insurgency. What else did he tell you to do?
He said he would be coming out to Combo for a reconnaissance patrol. But during his absences, we should be observing our familiarization patrol, which we were doing during his absence.
And did you come into contact with him again later?
When he came back, he didn't inform us. Normally, when he comes back from such reconnaissance patrols, he does not inform us. We will only be surprised when he called for a normal patrol. Along the line, something wrong will take place.
That was the norm?
Up to the time of changes, Council, I will tell you that in the State Guard, men will be assembled for any deployment. They would never be briefed. This is a standard in the military that before you take somebody on operation or any other deployment, you have to brief him and let him know what exactly he was going for.
But you're telling us that with regards to Tumbul, he just spring it upon you, let's go on a mission?
We will call it that we are having an outing. That means a normal patrol. So at this point in time, out of my own observation, I would suspect that something abnormal is going to happen when we are on board. Because each time he uses his own personal vehicle, would not be a normal patrol.
Okay.
Apart from his personal vehicle, we would be, given the small jeep to be doing our job. But when we come and he assembled us and said there is a patrol, if I see his vehicle and he advises us that we will board his car, at that point I will suspect that this is not a normal patrol.
Okay, let's take it step by step. Let's take the instance where you were told that an insurgency was hatching, and you have to confront it head on. And he went away on a recce mission to the Combos. What happened when he came back?
When he came back, he called for a patrol, a normal patrol, to assemble us, but there was no briefing. We boarded the vehicles.
And those of you who boarded the vehicle would be yourself, Aliu Jeng, and Sanamanja?
At this point in time, it is we, the three, in addition to him. Anytime there is an addition, I think I will, indicate to you, sir.
Please, okay, thank you very much for that. So go ahead. On this occasion, what happened? He called the three of you. You joined him in his personal vehicle. What happened next?
He drove right to Serekunda, to behind Plaza Cinema. Then, I think by the time of my arrest, the Brikama garage was shifted to around that end, where he parked the vehicle, and then he dropped, was talking on the phone, and walking towards a pile of wood. It appears like, there was a sawmill. I don't know. It was in the darkness. But while he was speaking on the phone, somebody appeared from that direction, coming towards him. He came alongside with this man and ordered the man to go in.
Go in where?
Into the car.
Did he?
Pardon?
Did the man go into the car?
The man did.
And what happened after that?
After that, he drove, taking the Brikama Serekunda Highway to the airport, and then tore through the airport itself. Around the terminal, he took a bend to the left towards Makumbaya, and then he used that back way that will now come back to appear on the Banjul Serekunda Highway.
Does that area have a name that you know?
It's around Bafuloto N, something like that.
Yes, okay. And then what happened?
And then at a point, he stopped.
Proceed.
He dropped and asked us to come down. When we came down, he grabbed this gentleman by the collar of his shirt, pulled him out, and then as he was pushing him, we were standing behind the vehicle, all three of us.
Name names. Who was there?
That was myself, Sanamanjang, and Aliujang.
Good. And then what happened?
So he pushed this man past us, and he pushed him forward, pulling out a pistol. Before he shot, in fact, when he pulled this man, he said, "Gentlemen, this is one of the idiots."
What did you understand him to mean by that?
That means one of the rebels. But he will describe them as the idiots.
And then what did he do?
Then he pushed him and released a shot.
At who?
At the man that he pushed.
And then what happened after that?
He looked back and saw us. We were not there to shoot, but he had mentioned before this that, do as I do. So when he looked back, there was no response. He shouted, "What are you people waiting for?" At this point, all the three of us, as I have mentioned, Manjang, myself, and Njeng, pulled out our pistols. So I pulled out my pistol before I shot. We were all reluctant anyway. And you will feel I pulled the pistol, and there was something I said that in the interest of my country, we are ordered to gun you down. So while I was saying that, these two people have already shot. That's why I believe my shot was the last. I didn't even pick up an aim. I just pulled out the pistol and said, in the interest of my country, we are ordered to gun you down. So
And
I pointed the
down.
weapon to the direction of the target, and I squeezed a trigger. It fired.
All four of you
All four of
fired
us.
at the victim.
He fired the victim, and the victim fell down. Then the three of us, when he shouted on us, that what do we wait for? What did we use to wait? What were we waiting for? We all squeezed shots in the direction of this target.
And then what happened?
And then he left the...
Before that, before you fired, you said to the victim, in the interest of my country,
we are ordered to gun you down.
Why did you have to say that?
I feel whatever sacrifice I am to do as a soldier is to serve my people. This is why I started by telling you that as a soldier, I will not tell you how other soldiers will feel. I feel the order should be the public demand. It should be in line with that.
Was that a public demand?
Well, at the end of the day, on subsequent, after subsequent operation, I realized that there was manipulation. That is what led to my departure.
So after the four of you shot this victim, what happened next?
He ordered us to board the car, and then he left the dead body unattended, sir.
And then what happened on the way?
We went back right to Kanilai. On the way, I asked who was that man, and he told me it was Dawda Nyasi, a rebel from that said formation.
Repeat the name, please.
Dawda Nyasi.
Dawda Nyasi, he said a rebel from Liberia.
From that said formation, that rebel formation.
Did you know this person before?
I have never known these people.
How did you feel after this first order to take a person's life?
It was not easy, though I am a soldier, ready to sacrifice my life for the security and safety of my people. But it was not easy. Your tongue will fill your mouth before getting to this.
And from there, you went where?
Back to Kanilai.
And what happened in Kanilai when you got there?
Well, we only dispersed. There was nothing like a debriefing. Normally, after a mission, there's supposed to be a debriefing.
And you would participate in a second mission?
Yes.
Can you tell us about that?
I didn't participate in the second mission. I was present, but I didn't participate. But as you have told me, I told you I'm not a legal mind. I was present.
Just tell us all the facts. Forget about the legal characterization. Just tell us the facts. There was a second mission, correct?
Yes.
Can you tell us what this second mission was all about, how it started, who was involved?
This second mission, it was the 4 of us as per the first mission.
Let's clarify who was there.
In addition, was only Solo to be added in that.
Okay, so tell us who was there. Name them.
I was Tumburu, Tamba, Solo Bojang, Sanamanjang, myself, and Aliujeng.
5 of you.
Yes, sir.
Okay, the first mission, you haven't quite put a date to it. Would it be around 2003?
I am sorry, this is my main problem because he had made mention that we should not be discussing these issues even within among ourselves. So I wouldn't be accurate if I want to be giving dates and timings.
Okay, fair enough.
But it's a long time since my departure from the team.
Fair enough. So go ahead. What happened in the second mission?
To inform you that I left the team about 10 years to 11 years before the change of regime. So
yes,
it's not a short time.
That would be duly noted, or is duly noted. I'm sure you would come to those things later on. And of course, your reasons for leaving, how you felt when you left, and how you were treated. We would cover all those things. And also, you would have an opportunity to talk to the people and explain your own situation. But before then, let's talk about the second mission. Tell us what happened.
The second mission, it was the same call for an outing, a normal outing.
Who made that call?
It was the commander, Tumbul Tamba.
What did he say to you this time?
He said we were going for a normal patrol. So we bought the vehicle. In fact, with the Nyasi's issue, there was something he said when we were coming, which I forget to mention. It was on the way he made mention that, today is a D-Day.
Yes, D-Day, so you are going to have contact. Something was going to happen on that day.
Yes, militarily, when it is said it's a D-Day, it means it's a battle day.
So when you left Kanila, you were expecting to be in a battle?
Something like that.
And when he picked up the person you later know as Dawda Nyasi, what came to your mind?
At that time, when he picked him up, I did not know it was Dawda Nyasi. It was when, after all the shooting had taken place, when we were going back, I asked him, and he said it was Dawda Nyasi, a member of the Trrc rebel groups that were cooking the rebellion. But the time he picked him, my estimation was that this man would be somebody, to be serving us of vital information, combatantly.
You didn't know he was going to be the victim?
No, I didn't know it.
So on this second occasion, when he told you that you were going to go on a patrol, what else did he say?
Well, he didn't say anything. It was just a normal patrol. When we came out, he drove, taking the Trans-Gambia highway. Due to my lack of familiarization on the environment, I wouldn't be able to tell you which particular village, because then it was only these key villages like Mandinaba, Block, Sibanor, Buyam. When we get to such points, I will realize that this place, we are now at Buyam, we are now at Sibanor, Block, and the like. And that I will also recognize them by the police checkpoints before we reach or when we're leaving them.
On this particular occasion, where did you go? Which point did you go to? Which village?
He used the Trans-Gambia highway. When we passed Buyam, at some point, a vehicle was coming from Combo direction, the direction of Combo, and they halted. I was in Solo's vehicle, the rear vehicle. So the commanders went down. I never came down, as I was not ordered to come down. I saw them standing with people who were, dressed in civil. I did not even know that there was something like handing and taking over of an individual from those vehicles at that time. But shortly after that, Solo came and boarded the vehicle. Then the convoy took a U-turn. But that vehicle that brought this, the individual to be handed over to the lead car, when we were coming, that was Tumbul's car, I would suspect it to be the vehicle of the NIAs, because it was a black tinted vehicle, and the individuals, bringing this individual were all dressed in civil. They were not in military order.
Then what happened after that?
The U-turn took place. They drove a little bit and branched to the right. My dismay is these points that they have headed to at that time, I wouldn't be able to identify the route, under the place as of now. That is my dismay. I would have given that to accomplish the information I am giving as a contribution to the healing and the reconciliation of this country.
Fair enough, proceed.
No?
But do you know
he brake track and he
yeah.
drove for a while. Which village exactly he brake track before Buyam, I cannot tell. So he drove for some time. It was a little bit long time. Then he stopped at a point. Now that he has taken the U-turn, he was in the lead. And I was in his vehicle, that was solo. The rear vehicle, the side signals were just blinking, as if on emergency. I could read from the side signal that somebody was being taken into the bush, and I could recognize Manjang. That somebody, I did not know him. So when he went into the bush for some time, a shot was fired. By the time I saw him getting back to the rear car, was the time, the convoy was, the two vehicles, the patrol vehicles, were torn to the direction to which we have come from.
But at this stage, when Manjang came down, you saw him with somebody else?
I could see him in the side mirror of the front car. He was not in the same car with me.
Yes.
He was in Tumbulu's car. Tumbulu's car, when we were coming to Combo direction from Canada using the Trans-Gambian Road, Tumbulu was on the lead.
That's right.
But when we were going back, Solo, the rear vehicle, when they turned, Solo took the lead.
That's right. But
So
what I'm trying to establish here is that you saw an unidentified person being led into the bush by Sana Manjang, correct?
Yes, correct.
Good. And after a little while, you heard the shot.
Yes, correct.
And then what happened after that?
The patrol took a U-turn. And this time, they drove around that bush until the point I can realize was just beside the fence, this wire fence. That is.
Of wire fence of what?
When you were coming from Kamfenda towards Kanilai.
Does it place have a name?
It has a name. When I asked Solo, who was that individual and where were we, he made mention that this is Bunubor Garden Fence.
Bunubor Garden
Fence.
Correct. Uh-huh.
And he indicated that the guy taken into the bush was Ndongombo.
And he was killed?
I suppose, because when the shot was heard, Manja wouldn't have come back to the vehicle without getting dismantled.
And he told you this person was Ndongo?
Was Ndongombo.
Ndongombo.
But even if today Ndongo was to stand in front of me, I would not be able to tell you this is Ndongombo.
At this stage, were you aware that were you at this stage, were you aware that there were some individuals in the Phonis who had a problem with Yahya Jammeh, including Ndongo? Were you aware of that?
No. I was just newly deployed to Kanila. I did not know the relations between the people.
Speak into the microphone, please.
I was just newly deployed to Kanila. On that, I did not know that relations between the people.
And after the shooting of Ndongo around Bunubor Garden and Kanfenda, what did you do?
Again, the patrol was driven back to Wani.
Where is Wani?
That is the area in which the president's compound is located in Kanilai.
These Bunubor Gardens, do you know who's the owner?
This garden belonged to the former president.
What is his name?
Yahya Jammeh.
Good. You would afterwards participate in yet another mission. Let's call it the third mission. Don't tell us the name, just tell us the details, and we will get to the name as you progress in the testimony. Tell us about this third mission. This would be in 2004, wouldn't it?
Of course.
And tell us about this mission.
As usual, we were summoned for a normal patrol, and on the road, Tumbul, when we was driving, said, today we are going for the magic pen.
He described the victim as the what?
Magic pen.
The magic pen. At this stage, did you know who the magic pen was?
I did not know. I suppose he was using code word, as operationally normally we used to have codes, to conceal our military activities. So I would expect that magic pen to be a code word.
And then tell us what happened as you leave from Kanilai.
He drove to a point, I can remember, where he parked his vehicle, his official vehicle, and took a taxi.
And where was this? Where was this? Do you know this location?
I can't remember exactly his location where he parked his vehicle, because it was at night. And the activities and movements were quick on his orders.
Okay. On this particular occasion, who was in the vehicle?
Myself, Sanamanjang, Tumbul, and Jeng.
Let us get the full names.
Bultamba?
Yourself, Malick Jatta, correct?
Yes.
Tumbul Tamba as commander, correct?
Yes.
Aliu Jeng?
Correct.
Sanamanjang, you said?
Correct.
How about Solo?
Solo was not in this.
So it's just 4 of you?
Yes, sir.
And just to be correct, I'll repeat the names again. Malick Jatta, Tumbul Tamba, Aliu Jeng, and Sanamanjang.
Yes, correct.
4 of you.
Yes.
So you first left in Tumbul Tamba's vehicle.
Yes.
And you parked it somewhere. And what did you do when you parked
the vehicle and ordered us to board the taxi.
A taxi. What kind of a taxi was this?
This was a Benz 200.
Mercedes-Benz 200. Did any one of you stay behind?
None of us stayed behind.
Tell me who boarded the taxi, one after the other.
Tumbul boarded and sat in the front seat, the driver's seat. Sanamanja was to his right. Aluje was sitting behind him. I was sitting to the left.
What do you say to the suggestion that one of you did not go on that mission? One of the 4 you mentioned did not go on that mission. What do you say to that?
It would be a total lie.
What if I tell you that Aliu Jeng did not go on that mission? What would you say?
It's a total lie, but I will let you know that, since the inception of this investigation, Aliu has spoken. When I arrived in the first day to give my testimony, I heard the police telling him that, the last time when we were asking you, you were lying a lot. And he testified to them that what he was telling them previously was mostly a lie, but that day he would speak the truth.
You're saying Aliu Jeng lied about not being there.
He calls it that way, he is lying.
So all 4 of you boarded a taxi. Who was driving the taxi?
Bultamba was driving the taxi.
Where did he get it from?
Well, this taxi, I believe, used to be parked at the garage at Canifing. But he found the taxi parked on the road.
Which garage are you referring to in Canifing? Who owns that garage?
It was the former president's garage.
Which former president? We have had 2 so far.
Yahya Jammeh.
Good.
Not Sadauda. I never worked in the regime of Sadauda.
Yes, but if you say former president, we have to get it correct. We have to be very precise. You see, we will not leave any ambiguity. So this taxi used to be parked at Yahya Jammeh's garage in Canifing. So this is the taxi that Sanambanyang found parked somewhere. He parked his vehicle and took that taxi.
Point of rectification, not Sanambanyang, Tumbul Tamba.
Yes, thank you very much. I meant to say Tumbul. Thank you very much, Mr. Witness. And then what did you do after all 4 of you boarded that taxi?
He drove on the Caraba Avenue to the traffic light.
As he was driving, was he doing anything else?
No, he was not doing anything else other than driving. When he parked at the traffic light was where he was communicating with the former president, and that's where I had the former president talking to him. And why I know that he was talking to the former president was due to the fact that, he was mentioning subsequently, yes, sir, Your Excellency, yes, sir, Your Excellency.
And you believe he was talking to Yahya?
He was talking to the president, former president, and each time he says, yes, sir, Your Excellency. If he finishes with that talk, he will talk. In fact, when we were parked there, 2 other taxis passed us.
What kind of taxis were those?
In which I could recognize soldiers on board. They were a V-boat and a Benz 190.
Okay. All taxis?
Yes, sir. Yellow taxis.
And you saw soldiers on board?
Yes. One was led by the then Council Alliance Bombardier. The other
What's Bombardier's first name?
Council Kamara.
Okay. And the second one?
The second one was Malick as the commander.
Mandafikor?
Yes, late.
Okay. So where is Bombardier now?
I have no idea.
And Mandafikor?
Malick is late.
You mean he's dead?
Yes.
Good. So do you know who are the other members, who are the other soldiers who were together with them?
I know that Bailo was a driver to Bombardier's team later.
Okay. And who else?
Borakoli was with Malick.
Do you know who else participated?
Michael Correa was with Malick, I think.
But those are the only people you knew to be with the other groups?
Not new, that I can remember.
That you can remember, that's right. And after you saw the other taxis go past and you recognized some soldiers in those taxis, what happened next?
One took a straight drive and the other bent towards the stadium. At this point in time, when the Tumbul talks to the former president, he will be calling
You
them.
mean Yahya Jammeh,
Yes.
correct? So let's establish this. Whenever you say former president, you are referring to who?
Yahya Jammeh. I did not work for Sadauda's government. That is why I said when I say former president, just understand that it was Yahya Jammeh.
Great. So move on, please. Move on, Karen. So one proceeded along Kairava Avenue, and the other taxi took the route towards Stadium. What happened next?
He, Tumbul, after advising them from completing his conversation with Yahya Jammeh, would talk to these vehicles as to their movement plans.
Tumbul was coordinating with the people in the other 2 taxis.
Yes, sir. Whatever information he was receiving from the other side of the telephone, I cannot tell you because the telephone was not put on loudspeaker. But what he was speaking, we could hear that.
And then what happened after that?
Then after that, he himself drove and took a bend towards the stadium end. And at a point in time, he took another bend towards the left. I'm sorry.
Towards the left. That is going towards Bakau.
Towards the Observer Highway.
Yes.
So at a point when he came, just barely I can say maybe 3 to 4 meters away from the Observer Highway, not getting the head of the vehicle to show up, he parked the vehicle. And then he came down, rose to the highway, and was observing to his left. But still he was talking on phone. At this other time, who he was talking to, I don't know, because he was off the vehicle and I was inside the vehicle.
And then what happened afterwards?
And sometimes after, he turned with a rush, get the vehicle, took a rapid U-turn.
So he came back to the vehicle?
Came back to the vehicle.
And then took a rapid U-turn?
Yes. Was driving roughly back on the route that we have come from to join the highway that comes to traffic light.
And then?
Then followed up that route to around Westfield, then bend towards Banjul. And around the PIU, when we passed the PIU barrack, police intervention barrack, there was a road that bent to the right.
You mean police mobile barracks?
Yes.
Okay, and then he turned to the right, right?
Yes.
Going towards where?
Towards the right.
Towards,
I think,
towards, do you know the street?
I don't know the street name.
Okay, what is generally in that area?
He just passed the police garage and there was a vehicle in front of us. Initially, we did not know that he was running after a vehicle.
So you said police what?
Garage.
Garage, all right? And that would be the Canifing end. Towards which factories?
No, I have no idea about the factories there. I don't have a thorough knowledge of that.
So let's say police garage, you said.
Yes.
So you passed the police mobile, and then you turned right towards the police garage.
Leaving the main highway to Banjul.
Yes.
Yes, you leave it behind.
Okay. And then what happened?
At this point, he drove fast, passing by a vehicle.
What type of vehicle was this?
I can't remember the mark of the vehicle, but it was a small vehicle.
Okay. All right, proceed.
When he was just opposite to the vehicle, as he was trying to pass the vehicle, he shouted, "Gentlemen, the driver is the idiot."
Could you say that again?
The driver is the idiot.
The driver is the idiot?
Yes.
And what did you guys
The
understand
same rebels
him
that
to mean?
he was telling us about, he used to call as the idiots.
And you understood him to mean what?
You know?
You
As he was calling these rebels idiot, we would take it to be the rebellion that we are supposed to be taking on in order to protect our territory and our people. So when he gave the order, initially none of us fired. He almost passed the vehicle. I can say the shots came adjacent from the driver. But he never stopped. He was shouting, "Shoot, shoot, you better shoot." When we shot, he never stopped. He drove through the streets.
Who shot?
Myself, Deng, and Manjang. Though I was from the left-hand side down there, from the left-hand side of the vehicle, I came to join Deng. We all released shots, to be honest.
Okay. Did Tumbul fire?
Tumbul didn't fire. He was the commander giving the orders and driving the vehicle.
Did Sana Manjang fire?
He did.
Did you, Malick Jatta, fire?
I shot, sir.
Aliu Jeng, did he fire?
He did shoot.
And then what happened?
And then Tumbul continued driving through the streets.
So you did not necessarily stop?
No, there was no stop. We were all panicked, and at this time, there was no question as to who that man was. Until where he met his vehicle, parked the taxi Benz, boarded his vehicle, and drove us right to Kanilai. But nobody spoke, because I'm telling you, these are situations that when you find yourself in, you cannot tell how you will feel.
And when you shot, did you know who you fired at?
I did not know this until the following day when I came to Combo.
Did you know at this stage that there were other occupants of that vehicle?
I wouldn't be able to tell even if there were other occupants, because when he said the driver was our point of focus.
How many bullets did you release?
I shot one.
Your colleagues?
I can't tell how many bullets they shot. I know that I shot one.
Okay. So you went to Kanilai, and then what happened on the way en route to Kanilai?
Pardon?
Tell us what happened en route to Kanilai.
Nobody spoke. We went to Kanilai. The following day was when Tumbul came to see us, and he met me at the school. That's
and what happened there?
The Jungle Warfare School. He came with an envelope containing some dollars. And he said to us, "This is a token of appreciation from the big man." Big man implies the president.
Did you know for certain he was referring to the president?
Very well.
And
he was
you
talking
were
to the
giving
president
dollars
during the operation, and after that he said, "This is a token of appreciation from the big man." I would be certain that it was from the former president. Tumbul had no source of gathering dollars. More so to give us money in that currency, to cover up something. I would not believe that.
So how much did your dollars translate to in dollars?
When I changed it, I cannot remember. It's a long time, but I believe I have scored more than $50,000.
Scored more than $50,000.
Yes.
Those are your words.
Pardon?
Those are your words.
More than.
I believe I have scored more than $50,000.
When I changed it, it was more than. Maybe I may use a wrong word. I am sorry to use it if it is a wrong word, but the equivalent of the changes will be more than $50,000.
And your colleagues?
I don't know how much they will get. And I'm afraid if they will stand to testify and tell the truth as to whether this money was given or not.
Were they given money?
Everybody was given, all of us were given envelopes. I will not know what is the content of your envelope.
But you know that they all received envelopes?
They received envelopes.
Okay. And you guys did not discuss what was in the envelope or how much was there?
The order was that don't discuss this even within yourselves.
So, and then what happened after that, after you received your envelope?
I came to Combo. I obtained a permission. We call it pass in military. I came to Combo.
And then what happened?
When I came to Combo, the following day, I was listening to the news, and I picked the information of this particular operation we were run into the night before.
And what information was that?
Was the killing of a journalist by the name of Deda Hydra, who I did not know.
Did the government say anything about it?
I was later made to understand that the former president has condemned it.
He condemned the killing?
Yes, sir.
How did you feel when you heard that he condemned the killing?
I was panicked. I was traumatized. And I was very afraid.
Why?
Because something that has taken place wrong by a journalist in the lineup of a rebellion, I knew something was wrong within the command. And I decided to, come to the commander who deployed me to Kanilai on that patrol.
But why were you scared when you heard Yahya Jammeh condemn the killing?
I have been put into it. I am afraid, and I know he has a hand. Now, what is going to be my way out? That I will be safe, even if I want to go out.
Let me put it this way to see whether you would agree. You panicked because the person who commanded the killing of this journalist stood out there and condemned the killing.
What does it mean?
You would be left to take care of your own self, or you'd be hanged out to die.
And I am in that soup today. I am in that soup today, Council.
And what did you do as a result of that?
I decided to call the commander that I would be coming when I was on the way up to Senegambia, that I was coming to meet him. He said to me, if I should come, I would not see him.
And who was this commander?
This was Major Bajinka, Khalifa.
Okay, let's get this straight. Your unit was part of State Guards, correct?
Yes, sir.
Under the normal command structure, your unit commander should be reporting to Major Bajinka, correct?
Correct.
But on this particular arrangement that you had, your unit commander was reporting to who?
The former president.
To Yahya Jammeh.
Yes, sir.
So that is an aberration, isn't it? It is not normal.
That is why I choose to come to the commander to prove if he was in the picture of that going on. But to my surprise, I found the commander was in the picture. So
can you explain what you mean by that? You went there, you found your commander was in the picture. Break it down. What do you mean by that?
When I came to meet the commander, that was to prove to know whether he is aware of this particular operation. But to my surprise, when I reached, in fact, when he told me that he would not see me, I didn't say anything. I forced my way. So my appearance to him, I would say, was surprising to him. But I wasn't happy, and I was, not in the mood. I just saluted. Good morning, sir. And he said, Yes, how was your mission? That tells me that he is aware of it.
And how did you respond?
I said, accomplished, sir. And he bent his head low for some time. Raising his head, he said to me, no, you shouldn't have done it. And this is where we got into the quarrel. I asked him, take me out of this team, or else I'm going to take myself out. But there was a question I put before. Why sending me to the patrol team where you will be issuing orders only to revoke it after the conduct? I'm a soldier.
What do you mean? Are you suggesting you asked him, why give orders which you would change after the order has already been implemented?
In an interpretation, but my own words to him was that, why do you have to send me to the patrol team, give orders after which you revoke your own orders? These were my own words to him. But in another language setup, they will mean the same thing.
Exactly, precisely. Did he respond to that?
He didn't respond to me.
What happened after that?
I told him that take me out of this team, or else I'm going to take myself out of this team by myself.
And were you taken out?
I was not taken out of the team, sir.
But how did you feel?
Very bad. Very bad, up to date. I have that pain in me for being used wrongly against my people. I'm sorry if I speak, sometimes my tone may determine something that you may think I am not. But myself, I tend to understand the feeling of the Gambian people. I have interacted with you during this investigation. You may a little bit have understanding in my nature. But I'm totally displeased up to date about these activities because nobody will it's never part of Gambian custom to be killing. A soldier will only go into this by virtue of national interest to secure and maintain stability, but they have to do it in the right way. I'm sorry, sir.
You were used to kill.
I was.
Your own brothers, your fellow Gambians, harmless citizens, correct?
Correct, sir.
Answer loud and clear.
Correct, sir.
Thank you. Mr. Chair, it's almost 4:30. The witness would obviously have to come to testify, to continue his testimony tomorrow. So perhaps this is a convenient point to end it for today. With your concurrence, you may adjourn this hearing until tomorrow. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you very much, Counsel, and thank you very much, Mr. Jatta. We'll see you tomorrow. The meeting is adjourned. We meet at 10 o'clock tomorrow morning.